Welcome to Taking Care of Business on News Talk 1180 KERN for the best in Saturday talk radio at 1 o'clock, and on 1230 KGEO at 10 o'clock Saturday, and for the best in Wednesday talk radio on 1410 KERI, the Christian station. We are now on 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and 3 times a week on the internet nationwide on knookmedia.com. Plus, you can catch any of Clay and my shows for the last 4 years. God, Clay, 4 years, can you believe that? At the Clay and Marty Show. Your host is Clay Koerner, and I'm Marty Pay, and our producer is Greg Held. Clay, that was a great show last week with Wayne Allen Root.
Yeah, we said, hello, Wayne, and that was the last we got to say anything.
Well, his prognostications were pretty good.
Some of the stuff he said, though, I want to make sure Obama knows that I don't agree with everything he said. I don't want to get audited.
You don't want to get audited. And Dick Morris was right on the money, too, and we had him the previous week. So
I'll tell you, Wayne is a fantastic guy. I hope he runs against Reed.
Yeah, I hope so, too. That would be a really interesting race. I'd love to have him on the show. Before we introduce our guest today, I want to talk about next week's show. We got the Waleed and Wally show next week.
Both ends, Wally and Wally.
Yes, we have Dr. Waleed Phares coming back, who's a very famous gentleman on the Middle East. He's the advisor to Congress and to the European Union. He's going to come in. And then in the second half, we got Wally Amos from Famous Amos Cookies.
Yeah, that's great. We had some of his cookies.
Yeah, he sent us some cookies from Hawaii.
Great.
Yeah,
they were great.
They're coming on next week. But this week we have kind of a tradition for the last 4 years after every election. We have the prognosticators, the political consultants, Mark and Cathy Abernathy. Mark, Cathy, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Oh, well, thanks. Good to be here.
Thank you for having us back.
Yeah, this is always fun. I always enjoy this.
In Marty's case, it's good to be anywhere.
Do you like Clay's new look with the goatee and everything?
Very distinguished.
I
think
it works for you.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
I'm sorry, Cathy, was that extinguished or distinguished?
Although Mark usually says if you have facial hair, what's it cost you on the ballot?
If you're on the ballot, it costs you 5% of the vote if you're on the ballot.
Really?
Facial hair, yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Some people can afford to give up that 5% of the vote.
Well, Hillary better not run then.
Very good.
There you go. It's starting. She thinks people will wait till 2016 to beat her up, but they won't.
No, she's been beating herself up with her own stupid comments.
Exactly.
I can't believe that comment she made about business. I mean, that's horrendous. You know.
Well, I remember her comment in the late 90s with Clinton both. They were at some conference where they said, "We think we know how to spend your money better than you do."
Yes, that's right.
And I think people forgot. I'm pulling that baby up because it parallels this whole issue of you don't start your own business. And,
well, Obama believes that too.
Yeah.
Oh, he's living it
on steroids. Yeah.
He's trying to spend our money right now.
Well, you know, since we've kind of blended into the national, let's start at the national. What did you think of President Obama's mea culpa the other day?
You know, for President Obama to take an election where, you know, what were there 32 Senate seats up about, and to turn around 7 and maybe 9 to the opposite party, that is a huge critique of Democrats and Obama. And I don't know a campaign. Everyone I was on, I was working on a congressional race. Every Senate race across the country was your candidates tied to Obama. That was all they used. They didn't even list the votes because people knew what it was. It's Obamacare. It's the way he's not handling ISIS. So it was
same problem with Congress. I mean, they picked up 10 or 12 seats in Congress as well.
Right.
This was a real notice to Obama that nobody likes your policies.
Right. But you heard what he said. His first comment out of the box when they said this was, "Well, I'm also thinking about the 2/3 of the people who didn't vote."
It's a good thing they didn't vote, or he'd have been worse.
Well, but he didn't really get the message. There was no humility there. You would think he would have been a little humble, but
that's one thing. He's lacking humility. I think that's one thing we can all say about.
I get the impression that he really doesn't want to. He doesn't really like the hard part of the job. He likes the perks, you know, the golf and the basketball and the travel and fundraising. But I don't think he really likes the job.
Well, he may not like the job, but he likes the power.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he has shown, if you read his books and looked at his life, he thinks he is the Messiah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
not the Messiah that we know, but the Messiah that he would see himself as. He sees himself as the leader of the world.
Well, he's no longer the number one most powerful man in the world. Our president has always been the most powerful person in the world, and he's dropped down to 2 and probably moving down to 3 real soon.
Well, the Messiah got his you-know-what handed to him the other night.
Right. Well, he says, I'm who you've been waiting for. Isn't that his...
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's his mantra. So, yeah, I agree with Mark here. People try to think he's stupid or he's not doing the job, and maybe he's playing golf, but he's getting it done. I mean, he's getting done in those agencies. But the IRS commissioner was in the White House, 187 times, and who was it? Another cabinet officer was there 6 times. I forget which office it was. But the point is, and then they went after conservatives. And he's doing things that he wants done, and he's got his people mobilized in these agencies. The Justice Department, we're under siege with outrageous behavior by the Justice Department.
Well, you heard him yesterday, the day after the election. Remember when, in midterm, when George W. Bush, and we lost a bunch of seats, what did George W. Bush say the next day?
He took responsibility.
He said, we took a thumping.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep.
And the media had a great, thumping, you got a thumping.
Yep.
Yeah, and he humbly, accepted, we took a thumping. Yeah, we got beat, and we lost seats, and now we're gonna work out with a new situation here, where the powers are. The people have voted, and we're going to give the people respect of how they voted. Now, that's the humble George W. Bush.
What a difference!
Yeah, what a difference! Because yesterday, Obama got beat worse than George W. Bush's thumping, but he came out strutting to the microphone and said he is going to go ahead and do it on his own.
He represents all the people that didn't vote. That's what he said yesterday.
And he seems to know how they vote, even though they don't.
So I got a mandate, right? Mm-hmm. All the people that didn't vote, I got a mandate. That's my mandate.
Crazy. We're having a conversation with Mark and Cathy Abernathy.
So what about the future for the presidential election? Now, that's the one that's coming up. That's going to be, I guess, in everybody's news for the next 2 years. Right. Who are the Democrats going to run?
Well, obviously, everybody thinks Hillary is going to run. All the Democrats, virtually all, support Hillary or say they support her. They got to be on the team, But I'm sure there's many who would like to have somebody else.
Well, Hillary's an extension of Obama. I mean, everything I've read about her, she's a communist.
Now you're sounding like Wayne Allen Root.
Well, I mean, she is.
Yeah, well, she's a communist. There's Democrats, liberals, socialists, communists. It's all part of the same viewpoint that the state is everything. Remember Mussolini? The state and nothing but the state. This is the statist viewpoint that Mussolini carried.
Like what Wayne Allen Root said the other day when he mentioned all those items, he apologized for repeating himself.
Being redundant.
Yeah. So, well, it's part of the same. You can't really separate them. One word might be nicer than the other in a certain company, but it is all the idea of state power. The power goes to the central government, and this is the opposite of how our country was founded. Our founders looked at the Bible, and they put God at the center as the giver of our rights, and our prosperity flows from that. And the government is of the people. Yeah. So if people would study, they have to study outside of the public school because they cannot get it. They will not get it in the public schools anymore. So people have got to study outside the public schools. Go and study on your own, please, because learn what the founders, how they established this country. It is the exact opposite of what you see in Obama and Hillary.
No question about it. Speaking about national politics again, excuse me, a lot of people on the Democratic side are looking at Elizabeth Warren because they don't think that Hillary can win a national election. Do you think she's got a shot at this?
I hope they pick Elizabeth Warren.
I do too.
She's a clear-cut, as far left, I think, on the spectrum. I'm not sure if they've rated the Senate. Now, Obama was at the farthest left when he left the Senate. I think she would be right down there, and she might be an easier target. But I'll tell you what, this Republican House, and likely with Congressman Devin Nunes up the road here, they are going to go after this Benghazi more than it's been done,
yes,
and that's going to just get her so big time. And she can't say she wasn't doing it because she was Secretary of State. That's kind of her job.
Yeah.
And then everything else, the fallout from other ambassadors and other what's been going on with every country in the world. We have worse relationships, and she prided herself on how many miles she traveled. Well, she's been our face, and she's been our spokesperson. So if those investigations can prove more and get more publicity, I think that'll have a real damp blanket on her future.
There's one other thing about her, and that is her health good enough? Is there a health problem? I think there is. This is my opinion, just looking at her. And I think that she may have health problems.
Physical or mental?
Both. We already know about the mental, but the physical, yeah.
And I keep on thinking about her question to Obama during the campaign. Who would you rather have answer the phone at 3 o'clock in the morning? I guess she must have put that call on hold when the call
Neither of them.
in.
They both went to bed after they heard about it. I mean, they heard about it at 5:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And for 8 hours this thing went on before they finally killed the ambassador.
Sure. And wasn't
what
Obama getting ready for a campaign
the next day?
fundraiser
Sure, he
in Vegas
flew
that
out.
he
He
was
flew
going
out.
Yeah.
He made a press statement in the Rose Garden, got on the helicopter, went out and raised money.
Yeah, insane.
No, it's...
When we come back from the break, let's talk a little bit about the House and the Senate. We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Current Radio News Talk 1180.